the last 5 years, over 300 billion naira has been spent on constituency projects. The lack of transparency and accountability in the build-up and dispensing of funds for constituency projects has created room for massive corruption. These projects will be a springboard for conversation to demand more data from subnational budgets whose documents have little or sometimes no details. First things first, what are constituency projects? They usually include schools, primary healthcare centers, and drainage systems. These projects are nominated by representatives in the National Assembly, but are mostly implemented by the executive. Hello and thank you for joining me. I am Charles Imuzi and you are watching Tracka Plus. Currently, there is scant transparency in Nigeria around subnational budgets. There is an ongoing campaign to ensure that these details are well presented to the public and a need to highlight cases of both performance and non-performance of constituency projects. This helps to raise accountability and transparency. Our goals are to open up public finances on constituency projects to Nigerians and make them vanguards for service delivery and transparency. The project aims to deepen citizen understanding of the budget, especially on the contextual issues that affect them. We also hope to raise the demand for information by citizens about budgets in Nigeria on a national level and to get people to collaborate towards efficient service delivery. There are diverse views on constituency projects. Civil society groups and even legislators often disagree on its actual significance, legality, operating procedure, and level of accountability. Today's episode will be an overview of the subject matter. We will be digging deep and clearing the air on these issues to give you a better understanding of the entire spectrum. Budget is a civic organization that applies technology to intersect citizen engagement with institutional improvement to facilitate societal change. A pioneer in the field of social advocacy melded with technology. Budget uses an array of tech tools to simplify budget and matters of public spending for citizens, with the primary aim of raising standard of transparency and accountability in government. Seun Onigbide is a lead partner of Budget. Listen to his thoughts on the matter of constituency projects.
The standard practice is to listen first to the people. A lot of times people get elected and they go to Abuja and they never even think it through that there are members that need to be consulted before these constituency projects are determined. So you might find out that most of these constituency projects have more to do about the selfish interests of the legislator. So a legislator maybe has a contractor around who does street lighting system, and the pressing need for a community is potable water. So the first stage should have been a consultative process with the members of that constituency. What exactly is your pressing need? Now, after that, you nominate that. Also ensure that you're able to do a bill of quantity survey so that you don't overestimate your own portion of the constituency project. So each member of the National Assembly, depending on your ranking, is allocated close to like 100 to up to even $1 billion for the senior, for the top members. And when you get your own allocation, it's good you do a proper bit of quantity survey so that you don't overestimate the project. Then when you do that, it's when you now follow through the process with the executive to ensure that the project is delivered in a very efficient and with all the quality. That exactly should be the three-way for the constituency project. So in the last 3 years, it's always been 100 billion naira for constituency projects. It's always been standard. There was a time when the current president came, President Muhammadu Buhari, the first budget, they tried to draw it back to 60 billion, but the National Assembly jacked it up back to 100 billion. So it's always been 100 billion. As I've earlier said, what determines, there's no definitive guide of how much a member or a senator gets as allocation for constituency project, but ranking also matters. So members of the National Assembly cabinet, they get much more allocation for constituency project. I don't think it's illegal. I guess it's not illegal to have a constituency project. What I worry about is that it is expedient, but it doesn't look like there's enough wisdom in it. You know, the federal government should be the big pipe entity that focuses on the macro projects that can, drive Nigeria towards where we want to be in terms of roads, power, education. So worrying the federal government on 10 million naira projects, 15 million naira ball, I think it's always too much of a distraction. So I don't think it's about legality. The appropriation powers reside with the National Assembly. Even that's very, very debatable. you know, and it looks like the way it's been happening is that the executive has ceded that space for the National Assembly to say, you can always take 100 billion naira constituency project, but don't tamper with our own estimates. So I don't think it's been illegal. The question is, do we follow the due process for it, and is it efficiently delivered for the people? I think the first point is that the process of nominating a constituency project is flawed, in essence, because there is no proper consultation most times. So we have found that we are finding a lot of mismatch between the needs of the people and what gets into the project as a constituency project. We even found a situation where politicians nominate projects serially in the same area, maybe just because it is a political advantage to them. So you disenfranchise or you under support other areas because maybe possibly they don't vote for you, they don't have those numbers. So I think it's very important that consultation has to bring back. And that's where the efficiency starts. When you bring a solar light system where a community needs a block of classroom, that's where the mismatch first happens. And the second part of it is that you find out that somehow, because the executive is always arm twisted when it comes to a constituency project, in a way, it looks like it's an executive project to execute. But most times the contractors and whoever is going to manage the process are still nominated by the members of the National Assembly. So you find out that delivery most times is always shabby. You even find a situation where a member of the National Assembly puts a ICT center, a supposed ICT center of 24 million naira in his own constituency office. You know, so in some way, there needs to be a proper overhaul of the process and also of the delivery. The executive also has a blame in this. The executive should put his foot on the ground and say, this project will be solely delivered by the executive, and we will be responsible for it. We have a team budget called Tracka. We have project tracking officers in 20 states. And it's always been challenging. Number one, sometimes these constituency projects have no addresses. You know, they just say we're going to supply 6 motorized balls in Kishi, you know, and we're in Kishi, you don't have an idea of where that is. So even proper addressing of this project is always very, very hard. So it's hard for us even to track sometimes, unless we have to ask or use native intelligence to get wherever the pressing need is. The other thing that also has to do with the challenge is also security. We sometimes have to intervene in terms of where our project tracking officers trying to put accountability in use of public funds gets harassed, even by the communities themselves, even by people who are the political structures in those areas. So it's very, very difficult for you to drive accountability in Nigeria. But we get it done a step at a time. We uncover the stories, we publish them, we share them in National Assembly. And we believe that Nigeria needs to get more from the constituency project.